Hello, everyone. I'm Phil. I'm talking about modeling state transitions. It sounds different to everyone because it uses Excel, which is much more of a finance tool than a dev tool. But anyways, when we are auditing a protocol, we must deeply understand state-changing functions because that's where vulnerabilities live. And this means understanding, for example, the step-by-step logic that each function does, how it interacts with state, what does it read and when, and what does it write to the state, and also what's the universe of valid arguments that can be passed to each function. And then this can be very complex, and that complexity makes it hard for you to understand only in your mind what's going on. But not only this, you can draw a diagram, for example, but then one limitation on that is that you cannot test. It's difficult to test different inputs or different arguments. And then I have an example here. This is a faucet that halves, a halving faucet that drips tokens halving every year. And then it's a function that only returns one output, but this is the size of the function. So the thing that I do to bypass that complexity is modeling the state changes on a spreadsheet. So this is a very simplified example of what that looks like. So on the horizontally, I track the state. So how it goes before the call and then after the call. So this becomes the before that call and then after that call. And down here, I have a helper that I draw the step-by-step logic of a function. And vertically, as I said, how each function call changes the state. I imagine that this might not be very helpful. So I have a real world example. So this is that function that I showed, and this is how I model this exact function on a live protocol. So this is the model, and while I was building this model, I asked myself some questions. So this is a halving faucet. So are the halving boundaries properly handled? So does it actually halve every year, for example? And another one is, are the unexpected timestamps properly handled? Because it's a halving faucet that halves every year. But what if it's not called any time inside of a year? How will that work on the following year? And it turns out that most of the things work correctly in this function. But the second question, the answer is no. The unexpected timestamps are not properly handled. So this is what happens, and this is what I modeled. I modeled the entire distribution of tokens, and then on the last distribution, if it's called with 12 seconds delay, so on mainnet, one block later than it should, it underflows and breaks the entire thing. So this is a protocol that introduced a faucet to incentivize the usage of the protocol. And then what would have happened if this bug hadn't been found was that by the 6th year, if the function was not called exactly on that timestamp, the entire protocol will be bricked. And I found this in a contest that with over 400 researchers participating, and this was a unique bug. So for me, this proves the value of doing this. Thank you.
Very cool.